Welcome to my channel. Today's story is not just terrifying, it's a chilling reminder of how love, obsession, and control can turn deadly. It's about a man whose life was stripped away drop by drop, not by a stranger, but by someone he once loved and trusted. This is the tragic case of Mark van Dongen, a young engineer who endured unimaginable pain and chose to end his own life to escape it. Mark van Dongen was a 29-year-old civil engineer from the Netherlands, living in Bristol, England. He was bright, successful, and described by friends and colleagues as ambitious, kind, and full of life. At the time, he had been in an on-and-off relationship with a woman named Berlina Wallace, a fashion student with a history of jealousy and volatile behavior. Their relationship was rocky, filled with accusations, breakups, and reconciliations. In 2015, after more than 5 years together, Mark finally left Berlina for good. He had started seeing another woman, a decision that would seal his fate. Wallace, consumed by rage, rejection, and a need for revenge, began to spiral. She didn't just get angry. She planned. She researched. And then, she attacked. On the night of September 22, 2015, Mark was sleeping in the bed they once shared. He had gone to her apartment that evening, not out of romance, but likely out of compassion. Berlina was known to self-harm and threaten suicide. Maybe he felt sorry for her. Maybe he wanted closure. But what he didn't know was that Berlina had been quietly buying a bottle of 98% pure sulfuric acid for days. As Mark slept, Berlina stood over him, acid in hand, and then she poured it on his face and chest. Reports say she looked him in the eyes and told him, "If I can't have you, no one else will." The acid tore through his skin, muscle, and even bone. He was left screaming in agony, his skin melting, his vision gone in one eye, his neck and torso severely burned. He lost most of the function in his lower body, his left leg was amputated, and he was paralyzed from the neck down. His appearance was so altered, his own father didn't recognize him. Mark spent over 400 days in a hospital. He endured more than 30 surgeries. And still, he suffered constant pain. He could barely speak, barely move. Eventually, he requested to be transferred to Belgium, his home country, where euthanasia is legal. There, on January 2, 2017, after doctors confirmed he was experiencing unrelenting and untreatable pain, Mark chose to die. His life was ended by legal-assisted death, surrounded by his father and medical staff. He was just 29 years old. The trial of Berlina Wallace would become a landmark case. Prosecutors charged her with murder. But because of the legal complexities surrounding euthanasia, the jury cleared her of that charge. Instead, she was convicted of throwing a corrosive substance with intent to cause grievous bodily harm, a charge that carries a life sentence. She was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 12 years to be served before parole could be considered. Mark's father, Kees van Dongen, was devastated. He had watched his son's life destroyed, watched him scream in pain, and ultimately choose death over existence. He called Berlina's actions the most cowardly and cruel thing anyone could do. In the aftermath, the case sparked massive public outrage. Acid attacks were rising in the UK, and this case drew national attention to the lack of regulation around the purchase of corrosive substances. New laws followed, including the Offensive Weapons Act, which now makes it illegal to possess acid in public without good reason. But laws don't erase trauma. Mark's story leaves us with profound questions. How do we miss the signs of psychological instability in those closest to us? What pushes someone from heartbreak to homicide? And how do we protect ourselves in relationships that begin with passion but end in control and violence? If you or someone you know is in a relationship filled with fear, jealousy, or emotional manipulation, don't ignore it. Emotional abuse often escalates. It starts with words, isolation, and mind games. But it can lead to tragedy. Here are a few safety tips to take from this heartbreaking case. Detailed safety and awareness tips inspired by the Mark van Dongen case. Recognize the early signs of obsession and emotional abuse. Excessive jealousy is not love. If someone constantly questions your whereabouts, friendships, or accuses you of cheating without reason, this is a red flag, not a romantic trait. Manipulative guilt tripping. Statements like, "I'll hurt myself if you leave me," are emotional blackmail. This is not a cry for help, it's control. Sudden mood swings and gaslighting. If someone goes from loving to angry without reason, or makes you question your memory or sanity, they may be manipulating you psychologically. Isolation from others. Abusers often try to separate you from friends and family to gain total control. If someone criticizes your support system, it's time to reevaluate the relationship. Protect yourself. When leaving a volatile relationship, plan your exit. Don't announce your decision in the moment. Instead, quietly gather documents, pack essentials, and plan a safe place to stay before confronting the abuser. Inform someone you trust. Let a close friend or family member know about your plans. Share addresses, texts, and any threats you've received. Avoid returning out of guilt. Many survivors return because they feel sorry for the abuser, but kindness doesn't fix control or violence. You owe no one your safety. Be cautious with meetups. If you must return for belongings or to talk things out, never go alone. Bring a friend or request a police escort. Understand the danger of corrosive substances. Know what's out there. Sulfuric acid, drain cleaners, and other chemicals are easy to obtain in some places, but they can maim or kill in seconds. Secure your own household. Store dangerous substances in locked cabinets, especially if you live with someone who has unstable behavior. Push for regulation. Support laws that restrict the sale and possession of corrosive substances to prevent similar attacks in your community. Document everything. Keep a digital trail. Save messages, screenshots, voice notes, and emails, especially if threats or disturbing behavior escalates. Use secure apps or cloud storage. Make sure your evidence is safe even if your phone is lost or accessed. Consider a restraining order. If someone threatens you, takes photos without consent, or follows you, contact legal authorities immediately. Mental health and boundaries. You are not a therapist. You are not responsible for fixing someone's emotional wounds at the cost of your safety or happiness. Encourage professional help. If someone is struggling with depression, aggression, or suicidal thoughts, they need professional care, not your personal sacrifice. Love should never hurt. True love is peaceful, respectful, and safe. If you're walking on eggshells, you're in danger, not in love. What to do if you feel in danger? Call emergency services. Don't hesitate if you fear for your safety. It's better to overreact than underprepare. Find a safe house. Many cities have domestic violence shelters that will protect you with confidentiality. Change routines and passwords. If someone is tracking you or monitoring your devices, take action immediately. Recognize red flags. Excessive jealousy, threats of self-harm, or obsessive behaviors are never signs of love. They are signs of control. Trust your instincts. If someone makes you feel unsafe, you don't need permission to walk away. Tragedies like Mark's shouldn't repeat. Mark van Dongen's life didn't end in a car crash or natural illness. It ended because someone chose to destroy him. His legacy, however, has helped change laws and awaken people to the dangers of hidden abuse. If this story moved you, please share it. And remember, safety starts with awareness, and awareness starts with stories like this one. And finally, remember this. Mark Van Dongen suffered in silence before the final explosion of violence. But you don't have to. The moment something feels wrong, it usually is. Trust your gut. Speak up. Reach out. No one deserves to live in fear. Stay alert. Stay safe. And don't forget to subscribe for more true crime stories with real lessons we can all learn from.